Hi guys.
Hi guys.
You ruined my intro.
Aw,
Yes, you make me feel so uncomfortable.
I'm sorry, dear.
Welcome to another edition of To Speak My Truth. My husband Ken is joining me again because he was really excited about the show and now kind of wants to be a part of it. So I don't mind it. It's pretty cool. Tonight's guest is an amazing man. I'm going to say young man. And his name is Brad Nelson, and he is an actor and is very involved with Special Olympics, and he's done stunt work, and I believe he's still out in California living the dream. And I met him at the New York Athletic Club, which is our club team, and I was really excited that he agreed to be a part of this, so I'm going to add him so that he gets it. I'm going to have to tilt this. I think it's tilted down. I think so when he does it. Yeah. Hey!
Oh, that's a great drop right there with the applause. That's more than I'm used to.
I got to do it big for my guests.
Oh,
Obviously.
yeah.
How
Hi,
are you
Frederick.
doing?
I'm good.
You look great. Oh
Well,
my God.
I've been working on my quarantine, which is very important during this time of nothing else going on. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
How you
Thank
doing,
you so
Ken?
Thank you.
much.
Appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. Yes, it was it was one of those things where you try and please everybody when you start planning, and then you got sick. I got sick of it, and I was like, screw it, we're eloping.
I bet you saved a stack of money on that deal too, didn't you?
You
Atta girl.
already
Very
know.
kudos.
We got our own little applause. It
Little
was
golf
one of the
clap.
things where we're trying to invest. Yeah, we're trying to invest in real estate, and we realized I was like, either we can have a party or we can start planning for the future. And he agreed, and he was like, "Are you sure you're not gonna want the big wedding and the white dress and the whole thing?" And I was like, "I can put my dress in a bag and fly it over."
Well, not only that, but you were in the Olympics, so I think, a wedding might be. And not only that, but you can have a party. You can have a party and make your friends give you a check anyway. So then, you can double dip on that deal. By the way, I
think that's what we're gonna do.
I was very impressed with the fact that you knew all the names of all the Spice Girls yesterday.
Oh, well, thank you. I had to do my research. I do my homework.
Yeah, I was like, damn,
Don't
dude
let him
knows
lie
this.
to
He's
you.
on his game.
I know my spice life.
Oh Lord, he's such a savant for he knows celebrities, he knows music artists, he is on it. So he's actually such a good addition to the show because he's so on it and he's so quick. And where I'll be like, I have to think for maybe 4 seconds. He already has the lineup, their blood type, the whole thing.
I look forward to having a beer with you one of these days, my man. We could chop it up,
do you
as
have
the
a
kids say.
drink at all or no?
Who, me?
Drink? All right, we're gonna cheat.
I don't have a
Thank you so much,
job. I
Brad,
mean, what
for
do you
being
want?
here.
I'm excited to see you guys and happy. I was tickled that you called about it.
Oh my goodness! Well, I was like, because I interviewed my other friend Brad, and he's like, I'm doing so many auditions virtually, and so I was like, I don't want to add to your schedule, and I've been seeing your. Is it tequila? Is it just tequila that you're doing?
No, I do pretty much whatever. I mean, for the Derby, I did a little tutorial wearing a yellow sport coat because I couldn't be in Louisville, and I made a mint julep. And then I did a margarita the other day. I haven't put that up yet, but you got to fill the hours in, and I work for the Dodgers, so
wow,
there ain't nothing going on there, but trying to stay busy around the house, and I'm doing a lot of yard work at this point in my
Yay!
Better you than me.
Yes, no kidding.
I've tried to get him to do yard work. He's not he cut the lawn once. And my mom's a big lawn person, and I have a brown thumb where everything I touch will die. So my mom will be taking care of that. And once we build our real estate property in the back, we will be putting turf in. We're not even doing it.
Boy, that's the lazy man out right there.
Turf
You know what?
and
Turf. We're going with turf. It'll be fine. It'll be
Just
fine.
turf it up.
We're athletes. We can use it for a quick little circuit session if we need to.
Well,
yeah, that's what we're going to say.
It's 85 here, and I know that it doesn't snow, so turf would be just fine there, but here it's just...
Oh, wow.
Is a word I've learned in the last few weeks.
Gotcha. Now, is it still, you're in California, right?
I am. I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. Okay. And you're quarantined in your house?
I'm actually, it was weird how it worked out. The first week that everybody got locked down, I was in the process of moving to my girl's house on the other side of town. So it was a perfect time to move. It was really weird traveling on a California highway. It was like a test track. There was no cars, and I was zooming back and forth 3-4 trips a day that could usually do one on a regular traffic day. So I just hammered it out, and we've been locked in here, just kind of she works for the LAUSD, so she's actually busier now than she is during the regular year, because she's in charge like 180 special needs students and 12 teachers. So trying to wrangle that on a Zoom call, I don't envy that whatsoever, but it is quite commendable.
Yes, absolutely. And his sister is actually a special needs teacher as well for was it 5th grade?
I think so. 5th grade, I think.
5th grade. And I'm like, how are you guys doing this? And I really feel for the parents.
Yeah.
Because now, on top of wearing the 1,000 hats that a parent does, now they have to add teacher. And trying to get your child in front of the Zoom, no contact, all that. I definitely applaud them and give them
and keeping them engaged. Yeah, totally. Yes. I've got nothing but, and I think that a lot of parents have a whole higher level of respect for teachers now, because I mean, and I have no idea how some of my friends are doing it with 3 kids. I think booze is holding the whole thing together. Figuratively.
No, it's an essential business, no doubt.
I
think it's an essential. It's essential.
It is essential. Imagine doing this 100 years ago during Prohibition. Huh.
Oh,
it would have been rough.
Oh Lord.
There'd have been a lot more divorces.
I want to make sure that you're. I want to make sure you can tell her that I give her an applause for all that she's doing.
The drop again. I will definitely let her know.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you for being on the show. I'm glad you're safe, and I'm glad you're moved in and you're keeping busy. I do know that you do wear many hats, and the first one I want to talk about is acting. And obviously it was, your main career for a long time. I don't know what you've been up to, which is why we're having this, because I did want to stalk you and figure out what you've been up to. But when you
not much right now, to be honest.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because when I interviewed my friend, he was like, I mean, we can do only as many, like they're just having like open calls through Zoom and whatever, and they're just trying to make it work. But I want to go back to when you started acting.
Oh, okay.
What year did you start acting?
I got my SAG card in 1993, and it was we had a group of guys in Chicago that we called the Big Dumb Guy Club, and we had all played against each other through high school and college, and during that period of the 90s, they filmed a ton of athletic ads in Chicago. So we had the same group of about 15 guys that would get booked on all of them. And it was it rotated who was going to be the principal. But that was back when you made real big money for a national spot.
Yeah.
And I think I've done, I don't know, 35 or 40 national commercials, but that period of time, it all started as an accident that
Okay.
I got my card. It was, I had just got done coaching and being in Colorado Springs. So they needed some guys that weren't too offensive looking that could actually play basketball. And we always used to laugh because during an audition, as soon as a guy dribbles, you'd go, actor, actor. Oh, he's a hooper. So you can, right away, you can tell whether a guy has any athletic ability. So they booked a bunch of us, and then that led to my agent at the time sent me in for a pilot. And I didn't have, all I had was a headshot. I had no resume on the back.
Just
And
blank.
I got 3 auditions and a screen test. And ironically, it turned out to be for a pilot that O.J. Simpson was the star of, called Frogman.
Oh, really?
It was about a bunch of Navy SEALs. And at the time, I was much younger, and, you know, I had just come back from the training center, so I was pretty jacked. And with no resume, I got to a screen test for CBS for this show. And if I would have got the job and then he would have done what he'd done, I would have had a problem with him.
Yeah.
But that's how it, you know, accidentally happened.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'd get bit parts here and there. The problem is size, physical size, because I'm, you know, in college I was listed at 6'6". I'm actually about 6'5", but in LA I say 6'4". So when you walk into a room and have a great audition, they go, "Nice job, but we're going to get a smaller version of you and not put Tom Cruise on an Apple box." Because when you walk in at in at 6'4", and everybody out here is 5'10", 5'11", there's a discernible difference. So that hinders guys. You know, there's only 3 or 4 guys in Hollywood that are that size. You know, Vincent D'Onofrio, Vince Vaughn. Those guys are every bit as 6'4", 6'5", and big dudes.
Yeah, it's very true. And we noticed that. Like, I mean, obviously, like, that's what I studied television and film, but he's a big movie person. And we're always like, there's something going on, because we know Tom Cruise is really short and we know that actor is really tall. So you're always just kind of like, how do they, I feel like, I mean, to me, that's ridiculous. That's like, you're not going to cast people because they're tall. They just get taller actors. Like, that's in my
but the problem is the lion's share of the money makers are all, I don't want to say, I mean, like, I grew up in Chicago, and I just thought I was regular sized guy.
Yes.
And then I came out here and it's like Godzilla walking through Tokyo. Yes. You know, there's a lot of smaller guys, but the majority of them are all that, you know, in between 5'8" and 5'11". We're a 40 regular. I mean, it's like going to a casting for a modeling thing. I mean, they have a set of what they think, and, you know, the guys that are, you know, the old school actors, Dustin Hoffman, Pacino, all those guys are all that size. So that's the way it's always been. So when, you know, when a big guy role comes around, we always see the same dudes at auditions.
Yeah.
Like, how you doing?
Hey,
Hi, nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Do you feel like, because I know that people, I mean, again, people always say to me, like, oh, you should model, you know, times are changing. And I'm like, I'm too big to model. And they're like, no, they have plus size models. I'm like, yes, they have plus size and then the regular model. There's nothing in between. Do you feel like acting is changing because?
Well, I think it's almost cyclical. You know, about 10, 12 years ago, it was like the nerds took over the world.
Yes.
You know, everybody, and no offense to you, Ken, but I mean, the guys that had the big ironic beards, and, you know, there was like that style of commercial. And you guys looking at you right now looks like an ad that's on, because if you watch television commercials right now, everything has a multicultural or interracial marriage involved.
Yeah. It's very true.
When you've been in it for a long time, you point out little trends. You're like, ah.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to my agent about 6-8 months ago, and she goes, just not a good time to be a big white guy in this town. I was like, well, that's awesome. I appreciate the thought.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, solid.
It's something that we're noticing right now is that as much as you see it on television, because I remember the first time that there was an interracial baby for the Cheerios commercial, it went viral in a negative way.
Yeah.
So many people were so angry about it. And to me, I was like, I can't believe it. And I literally got off the phone with my publicist a few hours ago, and I was like, this is my niche. Like, if I want to do something, if I want to do like late night television, I will be one of the first African-American women that isn't talking about politics, that's like funny and does it on the late night show with a white husband. And it's like unheard of. It really is. And it's
right,
so
right now.
Right
now, it's very popular. I mean, across the board,
becoming...
you're still going to have the flyover states and the southern states that don't dig it. But in the environments that we've grown up in, and, you know, I didn't know what color was until I went away to junior college in Texas. And then I learned real fast.
Wow.
I was like, oh, you guys really say that stuff?
Oh,
This is a different world. Yeah.
That's crazy. I do want to touch, there's so many things that you've been saying that I'm like, I got to get back to it. But this is the most relevant right now is you and Micheal Jordan. And I gotta say, it's one of these things that every time I talk to you, you tell me something that my jaw drops, and I'm like, what? Like, how does
I got a little bit of Forrest Gump in me. I mean, I've been entirely blessed to be in a lot of places that I shouldn't have been allowed to be in. But, all right, I'll have a beer. You know, it was just the luck of the draw, how things work out, how a 5-minute decision can change the course of your life. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar. You're both familiar with that an opportunity. I don't believe in fate. I don't believe in fate necessarily, but I believe in preparing yourself to make a decision at the drop of a hat to go, all right, that's how I ended up in Colorado Springs. They said, can you move out here by Wednesday? That was before the 92 Olympics. I'm like, this was Sunday afternoon. I was like, cool. So I packed my bag and I moved to the Springs. But about MJ, Micheal, I worked his basketball camp when I got out of college. Okay. And I was coaching in Oklahoma, and I got back to Chicago, and I was sitting at my father's house on a Sunday afternoon, and a buddy of mine called and said, what are you doing? I said, watching golf. He said, well, get in the car and drive to Elmhurst College. One of the coaches didn't show up for Michael's kids camp. And I was like, and I ended up getting coach of the week, and I was still in crazy shape. So I was playing in the counselor games, and all the big Nike schools would send their best players because, you know, it's kind of a little attaboy. They get to go work out with Micheal for the week.
Yeah.
So the counselor games had all the guys from UNLV. I mean, Stacey Augmon, Billy Owens, you know, all the guys from Carolina. So they were crazy good games, and I was right in the middle of them because I was still in good shape, like I said. And Michael's assistant, George Kohler, he was featured quite a bit in the documentary. He and I became tight, and then, you know, best friends for 20 years. And as the circle got smaller, I was just always kind of available and around. So it was traveling with that circus was quite fun. Being in Vegas with MJ was the closest thing to being with Sinatra during that period of time. It was a hell of a ride.
I can only imagine, not the entourage and the stardom, and this is all before cell phones and social media, so God only knows how it would be taken today. And that's probably a good thing.
That's a huge part of it. You know, one of my favorite stories, he had a senior camp that was for rich dudes, and they had to be, I mean, it was set up like a real camp. It was like $18,000 for 4 days, but you played for like Boeheim and John Thompson would coach one team, and Roy Williams and Calipari would coach another. So all the Nike guys are there, gave them excuse to go and play golf. And so guys had to be, they had station drills, and then they had games in the afternoon, and there was mandatory team meals. They ran it just like a camp. And at the end of the week, you got a ring if you won the championship. So most of the guys were beat down, but yeah, it was awesome. So most of the guys were beat down by the end of the week, by the end of the night. But Michael, notoriously never slept. So he'd be gambling, and everybody else would slowly but surely go off and go to bed. So one night it's he and I sitting there. He's playing blackjack, and I'm just sitting having a cocktail. He goes, "Hey, let's go for a walk." I said, "Well, let me grab your security." He goes, "Nah, let's just go for a walk." And this was at MGM. So it's like 3:30 in the morning, and we get up from the table, and the security guy's going, "No, we're good." So we're just walking through the casino, and we're just talking, shooting the breeze like any other time. And you could see like families coming from the airport, and they'd be walking, looking, and go, and they were like, "There's no way."
Yeah, there's no.
And it was,
super tall. So you guys.
Yeah, we're the same size. Yeah. And it was just, the reaction, and those were the surreal moments. Like when you're sitting in a hotel room or a restaurant, you look on on TV and there's a commercial running and you go, okay. So it was just, it was really it was a lot of fun. And then seeing the Last Dance thing was pretty reflective because, seeing all the security guys, I was great friends with all those guys, and it brought up a lot of great emotions and memories that that's a once in a lifetime occurrence. So I was, like I said, very blessed to be a tiny part to be in the entourage.
Wow, that's amazing. And when you sent me when you sent me the picture, I was literally just like, you got to be freaking kidding me. What else is like? Can this man ever not be cool? Like every time, just top yourself every single time.
When you get out of bed and it sounds like a drum solo, that's when it's not cool. Body's falling apart.
And it is interesting because I in a sense want to follow your footsteps. I've always wanted to be an actress and be a stunt woman. And you had told me that you were the stunt double for Vince Vaughn.
Well, that was interesting. That was the last thing I worked on at home was The Breakup.
Okay.
And Vince and I had, we all ran in the same circles at home.
Okay.
It's a big city, but it's a small town. And I was involved in a couple of big nightclubs. So I knew, pretty much everybody in town. And my agent called and said they need a double for Vince. And I said, well, if I can still read for the other parts. So for The Breakup, I ended up being regular crew. And if it was more than 15 feet away, the shot was me and not him. And then the original ending of the movie. So we worked on that for 3 months in my hometown, which was so much fun, shooting on Oak Street Beach on Michigan Avenue. We just had a blast. And then the original ending of the movie, Jennifer ends up with me and not Vince. That's on the interwebs. You can find that. It's original ending.
I didn't know that.
So they had my hair dyed, and Vince and I are the same size. That was why it worked out so well. So they found a girl from Indiana that was a drop-dead ringer for Aniston. So it was 6 months after they broke up, and they run into each other by Buckingham Fountain at an art fair. So she's with me, and Vince is with the girl that looks exactly like Aniston, and the whole two-shot is like giving up. But the thing that was horrible was it was right after her and Pitt had got divorced. So they didn't want to see her not end up with the guy she was with from the movie. I'm like, the name of the movie is The Breakup. They argued the whole movie. So they cut the ending, and it cost me the chance to walk down the carpet at home with my mother as my date. So I'm still mad about that. But ironically, today, this is how you live through quarantine. I got my European residual check today.
There you go.
Body of my babies see this. That's how ballers do it. $15.74. That's how you live through a quarantine.
Letting your money make money.
Dude, I am just...
We definitely will. We have the breakup. It is
down here somewhere.
It is not a fan. It's not my favorite. I don't like it.
Oh, it's on the DVD too. It's on the DVD. It's an extra on the DVD.
Is it?
Yeah, so we have.
Yeah, that's the only reason I made any money, because I'm still credited. I did really well in the movie. I just would have liked to, had it be in the theatrical release, it would have been a lot more fun.
Absolutely. I think it's one of the movies where I'm just like, I wish there was a happy ending. I'm a happy ending kind of person. And and that's, for some reason, that's not very, it's not very Vince Vaughn. It's not, like, Vince Vaughn is just like the ball buster.
It was a lot of fun because I got to hang out for 3 days with Anne Margaret. I mean, that's like the closest thing to Elvis I'm ever going to get.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just from that angle, it was so much fun. D'Onofrio worked for about 4 days, and I've always thought he was a tremendous actor. So it was awesome from the point of being able to work on a really big show. It was 3 months long with a pretty big budget. I mean, there's been other stuff after that, but that was the whole reason I moved out, is because Vince called me out. He goes, "When are you going to go to LA?" And I said, and he goes, "If you don't go now, you're never going to go." So 3 months later, I lived here.
Wow. And I mean, I know your resume is, you've done Victorious, which I think is so, and I know your friends make
Ariana Grande and I, we like to.
Yeah. You knew her before she was Ariana Grande. So you worked on Victorious, and you worked on American Horror Story, and pretty much everything.
American Horror.
How
I got a good one. Go ahead.
I don't watch American Horror Story, but I'll take it.
I don't either.
The story.
It's front. I can't. It's a mess. It is so scary. So I worked on that show for 2 weeks, and it was literally 7 minutes from my house. That was the dream of all dreams, because the Fox lot, I would drive from my house, because you got to show up with nothing in your hair for hair and makeup. I would shower and drive over, and my hair would still be wet from the shower. It was that close. And I was like, if I could come here to work every day, it would be the greatest life in the world. So, so the set, they had 2 sets built, and I was there on the year that it was the hotel. So you walked into the hotel set, and you thought you were in a hotel. I mean, it took like 6 months to build this thing, a working elevator. The bar worked. It was awesome. So I got there about 105 outside one day, and they didn't want me to sit in the trailer. So they said, "All right, just hang out in the lobby." So I went in and sat down, and I looked around, and I go, "Huh." And it's me and Gaga. Just her and I, no handlers, no production assistants, nobody. So I'm sitting there, and she goes, "Hi." And I said, "I would be remiss not to tell you this story." And my sister-in-law works at the salon where she would get her haircut in Chicago, because she was engaged to the good-looking kid from Chicago Fire.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
At the time. So she said, "What?" I said, "I know Dushan." She goes, "You know Dushan?" And the wall came down. She goes, "Hi, I'm Stephanie." I was like, "I'm Brad. How you doing?" So we talked for like 20 minutes, and she was in full wardrobe with the net over her face and the long red dress. And we just had a great conversation. It could not have been cooler. It was really, and I have no idea how that timing happened, that there was nobody else in the room. It was really, I walked out of there going, how the hell did that happen?
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool.
These are the moments, and I will say, at the Olympics, when I would see like big celebrities, everyone would be like, "Picture, picture, picture," and I'd be like, "Hey, how's it going? How's your day?" I'm like, the conversation is so much more to me than a picture or anything else. Like, I honestly just want to get to know the person. Do you feel like Lady Gaga is Lady Gaga, or is she more Stephanie?
Well, Lady Gaga's on stage. Okay. Stephanie, as soon as I told her I knew the guy that did her hair, it was like the chances of that happening to just a guy that was, nothing more than a day player. I mean, I worked 2 weeks on that show, and I happened to be there at that time, and she was like, she really relished the conversation because it drew two worlds together. Because she, all she wanted to talk about was Chicago and restaurants and places that she loved. But it's funny that you say it like that, because while we were watching The Last Dance the other night, my girl asked me if I had a bunch of stuff autographed by Michael. And I said, not at all. And she said, why not? I said, because when you ask for an autograph, you're a fan, not a friend.
Yeah.
And I only asked for an autograph twice. One was for my college coach, and one was for my father. And that was it over the, 15 years I ran around with those guys.
It's true. It's the relationships that you build. And if it's an autograph and, later down the line, it's never for yourself. It's always, well, I need it for this one good friend or somebody that it means a lot to me.
I'd rather have a beer with somebody than have a picture or an autograph. Let's just sit down and shoot. Let's just shoot the breeze for a while,
And that's why, again, it's almost the concept of my show. I wanted to grab a drink with people that I can't always fly out to Colorado or LA or New York or Florida. So let's have a drink. Let me see how your life is being, because everybody's journey is different. And I think especially for actors and athletes, there's a misconception about the lifestyle and what it takes to achieve being an actor and being an athlete. And so that's why it's so important that I have these discussions, because again, I'm not sitting here with my computer like, okay, like what's the next question, Brad? I'm having a conversation with you.
No, that's,
you have to.
Yeah, and it has to. I've always thought that conversations have to have a natural flow. If you go in with a preconceived notion, then you're going to miss out on something that might have been cool that branched off completely different than what your intentions were.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny because I send all those questions. I usually send like 9 or 10 to every guest, and I have yet to get to all of them or even half. I get to like 1 or 2, and then it's like something else happens, and I'm just like, whatever. We'll get to that another time.
We'll get to, we'll do part 2 in 6 months as we're still locked in our houses. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
But that's so cool. I love your stories. I love the genuine art of it. I think it's really great. And I know you've met a lot of people, and you're not braggy. I feel like you've had a niche in your life that is just so phenomenal. I mean, Micheal Jordan, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande, like all these things. And you're just like, yeah, I'm a cool guy, just at home.
Well, I mean, that's the thing that I found, because especially working with the Dodgers in the capacity that I do, I'm one of the VIP guys in the 900 seats behind home plate.
Okay.
So I have just a nonstop flow of people that you see all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like a guy that's been in the news a lot lately, Scott Boras, the big agent, has become a buddy of mine because he comes up and sits by me to get away from all the people that are. So if you just sit and shoot the shit with somebody and draw like I've always said, my life is a series of 2-minute conversations. So if you can draw a conclusion or a common denominator with somebody, a town that you both lived in, or a bar that you loved in Vegas or something like that, it just brings the wall down, and it creates just not necessarily friends, but a buddy, somebody that you'd say, hey, you want to grab a beer, or if you run into them somewhere randomly, they're always going to come over and say hi. I mean, I love interactions like that.
I think that's the thing,
And at the end of the day, everybody is going to put their pants on the same way. Some people just worked a little harder at something or got a bigger break than somebody. But, it's still a goof to just sit and shoot the breeze for a while. I enjoy that.
And I think that's important. And for me, I realized that reaching out to people and getting some of these guests that are on, I'm like, once I've
seen your list. You got a great. You had Steve Lav on there. You had all kinds of people. That
was my man. Steve Lavin was my man.
our commonality. Oh, when he was at St. John's, I forgot about that.
Yes.
See,
Oh yes, I used to wear my sports bra and short pants, short shorts, running around the gym when I
that'll stop traffic anywhere, Frederick. I'm telling you.
Yep.
But the thing about that is our connections with the NYAC.
Yeah.
What the first time I ran into Chris Mullen when he was the featured speaker at Champions Dinner, we were in the reception prior to going downstairs, and he walked past and he looks at me, and because I'd known him from years before, and he goes,
okay,
"What the hell are you doing here?" And I said, "Team handball." And he goes, "European handball?" And he said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Extending the career a little bit, huh?" I go, "Dude, Peter Pan is fully alive. As long as I can walk, I'm still going to be part of something."
Oh yes, and so if you guys have any questions, I'm sorry I'm not doing a very good job because I'm in this conversation so deeply. If you guys have any questions for Brad, look at the bottom of your screen. You're going to see a question mark with a square around it. You guys can tap that and ask him any questions that you want. But I am going to move on to the next hat that you wear, which is handball. And it's funny, I texted him and I was like, "Oh, netball." And he was like, "I don't know what the hell netball is." And I was like, "Oh, I have never in my career have ever made more mistakes than with this man. I was sending the wrong information, misspelled. Like he caught that I put on all the things. It was Mike Lavin and not Steve
Mike Lavin, yeah.
And I was like, why him? Like I just need to come correct for Brad once.
Well, and you're my pal, Priscilla. That's why it was easy. But nobody knows what handball is anyway. So if we would have taken it from handball to netball, we'd really lose everybody. So, no, that's
get involved in handball then?
Well, my best friend, I was coaching in Oklahoma, and my best friend was an intern for ABA USA in Colorado Springs for the Basketball Federation. And he called me one day and he goes, "Dude, there's this game out here with a bunch of big, crazy guys that are athletic like you." He goes, "I think you'd be really good at it." And I went, "What is it?" And I had no idea. I'd never heard of it. So I was going to Denver for a wedding from one of my college teammates. So they sent me a VHS tape of this game. And I watched it and went, "What the hell is that?" So I went and stayed at the training center for 3 nights. I worked out twice a day with the national team at the time, 3 hours at a time, twice a day, and then we went out drinking at night. So you've been in the Springs, you know what the altitude is. It was like breathing fire, and I didn't understand the game. So after the 3rd day, I went to the coach and the head of the federation, the director of USA Team Handball. I go, "Guys, if I'm terrible, please let me know so I can sleep in together tomorrow." And they said, "Well, we'd been talking. We were wondering if you'd like to come out and train full time." And I went, "Me?" I said, "Yeah."
Oh my God.
I said, "I'm interested. When would you like for me to be here?" And they said, "Wednesday." And this was Sunday afternoon. So I literally went back to Chicago, packed my stuff, and moved to the Springs. And I think we went to 22 countries. And we ended up losing to Cuba to go to the 92 Olympics, or this whole thing might have shaken out a little differently. But my association on complete accident, like, again, that 5-minute decision changed the course of my life.
Yes.
And that's how I got to know you through, the New York Athletic Club being our title sponsor for our club team, and had the privilege of winning 11 national championships in the club level for the AC. And it's just been, some of my friends, and this was in 1989 that we started, and the guys from that training team, like 8 of them were on the 96 team. My body fell apart, but I'm still great friends with probably 15 of the guys that we trained with, and 8 of them are on the athletic club team, the NYAC team. Wow. So it's just been I've been playing that game. I mean, I was a basketball player all through college and then after college, but then I've played handball more than half my life. So for a guy that didn't touch it till he was 20 or 22, you know, it's really, yeah. And, you know, got to see, we were in Iceland, we were in Cuba, we were in Romania. I mean, you know, you've traveled through athletics, just
yes,
on somebody else's
and
credit card. And it's just
a very
an unbelievable
rewarding
privilege.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to
like
put the time in,
definitely
though.
something
You know.
that oh yes, absolutely.
Sure,
We've been
sure.
talking about it, and I'm so excited to see you this year, hopefully at the dinner. And now that the Olympics are postponed, I don't know what they're going to do about the dinner. I'm not actually sure. But
I know that I've still
hoping
been
that they
paying
have
my
it.
dues during this quarantine. I'll tell you that, for a club I'm at twice a year in Manhattan. And where do I live?
True.
This is Los Angeles. I forgot. This is LA.
It's true. I mean, when I first met you, I was like, that's my future husband, and we're just going to talk about it later. And he doesn't know it yet, but we'll talk later. And
I lost that battle deluxe to my man over here. God bless.
It was all about that 5-minute decision. That's what it was.
I made the wrong decision because I didn't live in Jersey. Damn it. And I was really old. That you forgot that one, Ken.
Oh my God. You are not old. Everyone that's like, oh, I swear, anybody that's over 35 is like, oh, I'm so old. I saw Summer Sanders yesterday, and I was like, how old are you? Like, I was in shock. Same thing now. You guys look great.
Yeah,
You
that's a
guys
tough
are
one to
either-
follow. Sanders is a tough one to follow for a guy of my decrepit physical conditioning falling apart as the day goes on.
You held hands with Jennifer Aniston. You're way, way above anybody else.
For 2 full days. I took a swing. I didn't have enough zeros in the bank account, but it was my town. I took a hard swing.
You have to. You
Yep.
have to.
Yeah.
Shoulder to cry on.
If you don't ask, you'll never hear no.
That.
True.
Could
That is true.
here's another little one that you'll love about that, Miss Big Bang. She at the end.
Seriously, the best thing I've ever gotten in my life to this day, hands down, the greatest gift I've ever gotten was from you.
That was the funny. Ken, are you?
Yes.
Yeah. So Johnny Galecki and I have been friends for probably almost 30 years. So
Oh my God.
we used to sneak him in when he was underage. It's a double door in Chicago to see shows. So Johnny, when he comes to Dodger Stadium, he goes bananas because we get to hang out for a while.
Oh.
Told him that she was a high jumper. And at the end of the video, he said, stay away from those horses, or be careful with the horses.
Yes.
He thought I meant equestrian jumper.
Yes.
Gotcha.
There might have been a margarita. There might have been a margarita or 4 involved at that point, but I sent it to her and she freaked the hell out, which was could not have been.
Yeah, I remember her showing me that. She loved it. It was great.
I remember receiving it. I was living at Tess's.
Yep.
And I think I was having like an off day or something. And I like rolled out of bed and I got the video and like you're walking and I'm like, oh, Brad sent me a video. Like so sweet. I miss him. And then I saw John Gillette and I was like, ah! And literally my roommate was like, are you okay? And I was like, look, Big Bang Theory. Like I lost breath all of a sudden.
Where were you in Texas?
Oh no, I'm sorry. Tess is the girl that I lived with. Tess. I said
Oh, I thought
Yes,
you lived
yeah.
it because I went to school in Texas. I was like, I never knew about that.
No, I don't. No. I've lived in Jersey and New York, and that's about it. But that was like one of the greatest things, and the fact that you remembered that I loved him so much,
Well,
and I literally wanted to get engaged on the set. I wanted to be there, and the season ended. I mean, the series ended before that happened, so I was a little sad.
we probably could have made that happen. Because he said, bring her by if she ever makes it out here. I was like, all right. But you know, you would have been like the, the
No,
freak
no.
out
No,
teenage
no.
girl. No?
I'm an actress. That's what I do.
Played it cool.
What's going on, Johnny?
How you doing?
Yeah. How's it going?
Kaylee.
Lovely to meet you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Hi. Hi.
Yeah.
I'm from Jersey. What's up?
I know. I can't say that, though. I can't ever mention Jersey. People just write me off. I'm just like,
Just keep saying St. John's. St. John's, the red,
That's
or
all
the
I
red,
say. Yeah,
the red storm. Sorry.
Yes. Red Storm. Everyone's like, what is your mascot? And I was like, a Red Storm. They're like, good one.
Louis Carnesec is the mascot of that
Red
team.
Storm?
Don't be.
Oh my god.
You know,
And,
were you you're a St. John's basketball fan then?
yes.
Okay, so you remember
You have
Walter
to be.
Berry? Walter
Yeah.
Berry was the player of the year for St. John's. My first college game, I had to guard him in junior college in Texas. And he dunked on me, and before the ball hit the ground, I hit the buzzer to pull me out of the game. Everybody in the gym knew he was going left. He still went left and reversed on my head, and I was like, oh, okay. Welcome to college. This is a little bit different than what we're used to.
Pretty impressive there, bud. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
you need anything? You have water?
very nice effort. Very good. Kudos on that. Good effort.
Good try. And then I love all these stories, and I know it's way over our time, so I apologize.
That's okay.
I do want to get into very quickly your connection with the Special Olympics, because you are a huge advocate for that. You've done amazing work with it, and I love watching it.
I am.
Please tell us more about it, and if there's any way that the viewers can get, involved in this organization, please tell me all about it.
Well, they're never going to say no to a volunteer. I mean, everybody needs volunteers, but this time is very difficult. But that is one of those things that happened on total accident again. I got involved with the World Games, the Special Olympic World Games, when they're in Los Angeles. And there's so few people that know about handball in the States that I ended up being in charge of the whole I was the on-court supervisor for the whole tournament. We had 15 teams from 15 countries, and none of them were native English speakers. So they knew that I knew handball, and they knew I didn't take myself seriously. So that turned out to be the most it was the best 2 weeks of my life, because it changed my perspective so much to realize that when we think we're having a shitty day, it's really not that bad. And by the end of the time, the people from the Southern California Special Olympic came over and said, have you ever thought about giving this a shot past this? Because you're pretty good at it. So I ended up coaching. I coached the basketball team and the softball team in Santa Monica for the West Side Special Olympics, and I've done that for 5 years. And then I'm involved with the SMARS program, which is the adaptive recreation. So we do a social club. We take them here and there. And as it turns out, I met my girl through that.
Oh, cool.
And so again, that 5-minute decision, you never know what's going to come of it. But it's been more fulfilling than anything else I've ever done, because, like I said, it changed your perspective, and you start out thinking you're going to help somebody else, and within a few weeks you realize that those guys are helping you out way more than you're helping them out. It becomes part of your weekly routine, and it's a goof. I mean, like with our social club, the cliques and the cattiness and the dating and everything is exactly the same. And when you get to see that group of people that are marginalized in regular society, when you get to see them interact with themselves, with nobody staring at them, it's the biggest amount of happiness you can see, because they don't have to put on any airs or look to see who's staring at them. It's just, I mean, we do talent shows and sing-alongs, and it's really been something. And even if it's once a month, if anybody watching this or anybody can get involved, I mean, it puts a little different spin on the way you look at life, to know that these guys get up every day and they're happy after they've,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, got dealt bad cards. So, you know, I can't be a big enough advocate for it. And, you know, it's become a really big part of my life, and I'm thankful to be part of it.
Oh,
that's cool. That's really awesome of you. It's really impressive. So,
well,
I applaud you.
Yes.
I'm
sorry.
Oh, now we're gonna get the applause. Yeah, now we get the. Yeah. No, it's just, you know, it's because I enjoy coaching, and those guys know that I come from an athletic background, and they want to be coached like regular guys. Yeah, like my center on the basketball team is 6'6", 275.
Ooh, okay.
I don't want any part of that.
No.
But I got to get out and scrimmage with them because the other guys don't want any part of it either. So I coach them just as hard as I would a regular bunch of high school or college guys.
Yeah.
And, you know, we get after it, and it's a lot of fun. But, you know, the state games have been canceled already. All contact has been canceled. Everything has been frozen. And now the phones and the social media is blown up from all my, you know, all the guys on my teams and our social club wanting to know when we can get back together, because they don't have any information coming to them, and they look for us to tell them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I got, you know, we have honestly nothing either
nothing
way
new.
to tell them, and it's disappointing because they look forward to the interaction. They miss their friends, they miss the coaches, they miss all of us. This whole thing has so many layers to it, and how sad and frustrating it is to be locked in. You know?
Absolutely. On very many levels. I can definitely understand that. But I really appreciate it. I have loved our conversation. I love getting to talk to you.
I really had a lot of fun.
I really did.
It's been a good time.
I got to give you another. Thank you so much.
And by the cocktail, it says we have to go.
I'm done. I'm already done my
Congratulations again, guys. I couldn't be happier for you because, Frederick, you know how I feel about you. And, dude, you must be all that if you roped her in. So congratulations. And I'll give you my, I don't have a whole crowd here, but I'll give you my applause for that. So congratulations, guys.
We do.
Tell you what, it was 1 5-minute decision.
Dude.
That's all it was.
And you win. You win, my man. You win.
Exactly.
Well, you guys take care. I really enjoyed it.
I thank you so much. And I didn't get a chance, of course, to forward you this information, but usually Ken isn't in the show, and now he's joining the show. And usually for my show, he has a segment called Ken's Corner. Ken's Corner is where he just asks a random question that has nothing to do with anything. And my guest doesn't know it. And neither do I, but I have a
bring it on. He's getting
I like this more than any of the other stuff.
Exactly.
All right, so honey.
Okay, it was one time in Tijuana, and that was it.
That's it.
Yep, I'm good. All right, what do you got?
Again? Yeah.
What do you got, bud?
All right, what's your question?
So, would you rather have the superpower of the webs of Spider-Man or the claws of Wolverine? And why? Defend.
Oh, I got to go Spider-Man. Just because you can get the hell out of a situation fast. You know, if you're sitting at an outside diner and the date's not going well, bang, I'm out of there. As soon as the bill drops, I'm out.
See ya. Here's the bill. Have fun. Yep.
Gotta go. That's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
See,
I love it.
There's no right or wrong answer. He just
loves
to speak his truth. So,
and that was
Again,
random as hell too. I got to tell you.
Thank you so much, Brad.
It was entirely my pleasure.
You know I love you. I thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're safe and you're doing well. And I promise we are going to Nashville first, and then hopefully we can go to LA. I have been trying to convince him to go to LA because I want to work for Pixar.
You've been talking about this since we've known each other. That's like 7 years now, I think.
Yes. And it's one of the things that with track, it gets a little difficult to get to LA, but I do want to go to the Mount. I was supposed to go to the Mount Sac relays this year, and of course this happens.
Yeah.
So I promise you, it's one of the places he doesn't want to move though. It's on the no live list.
Well, if you stay out of all the BS in Hollywood, the one thing, speaking as a guy that grew up in the Midwest, you never have to shovel sunshine, ever.
That's true.
It's
true.
like it's 82 with a breeze right now, and I'm
Love it. Oh my God, it's amazing.
It's pretty nice. I mean, I miss Chicago every day of my life, but this is where I got to be for now, and I don't know whether I'll ever go back because, boy, I like 70 every day.
Yeah,
Can't
it's
go wrong
very
with that.
beautiful. I can imagine that.
It's
Maybe we'll have to
and
visit you, and you can give us a tour and get him on board. But I want to
whatever you need.
Pixar, so Pixar's right in LA, and that's where I'd like to be. So we're gonna have to talk a little bit more.
Okay, well, I look forward to it. You guys take care. I'm glad you're safe as well, and I really enjoyed this. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate and was surprised that you even wanted to talk to me.
Oh my God, stop it! You know I love you.
All right, love you too.
Talk to you soon. Love you.
All right, take care, guys. Bye.
Oh, now you know why I love Brad so
He's a good
much.
dude.
He's awesome. He's so freaking phenomenal. I love him. Thank you guys so much for joining in tonight. Actually, all of these, now that my YouTube is up and running and I have actual good internet, it'll be up on my YouTube, which is really exciting. I'm very happy. Yeah, he did that. He was the man and did it.
Made a call. I know a guy.
I actually am going to promote this because it has been working for me. My cousin Megan Loomis, who was on the show a few weeks ago, she introduced me to her essential oils, and I don't know what she made for this roller, but it just says calm on it. So go to her website, reach out to her and ask her, but it's been amazing, and I've loved it, and it's given me such a calming. You know me, I need to be calm. So I appreciate you guys coming in.
It smells good too.
Yeah, it really does.
And we fought a lot less since we've had it.
I know.
So it could be a coincidence.
I'll show them the right behind you, the little green thing. It has like, what does it say, honey?
Lavender, peace and calming.
Peace and calming. So, oh my gosh, you're such an oaf. So that is it, guys. I'm telling you, it is a little pricey. I will say that, because I'm not gonna lie to you. It's speaking my truth, but it's worth it, and we've had it, and honestly, I've loved it. So I've tried it, I've bought it myself, and I can honestly say it's amazing. We also have a lavender one roller for sleep, to help him sleep, and it's been going great as well. So check out meganloomis.com. She also has a Pinterest, so check her out. And I'm excited to continue my country theme. Tomorrow we have Jimmy Allen. I'm so excited.
Can't wait. Got a jam.
And we're definitely going to talk about his new song with Noah Cyrus, which is Miley Cyrus's little sister. How he got involved with that, being an African-American male and country, all that kind of stuff. So join me back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And cheers, guys. My glass is empty, but cheers. Cheers to another successful To Speak My Truth. I'll talk to you guys soon. Say bye, honey.
Bye, honey.